What's up, guys? Today we're here to talk about the most studied supplement on earth, creatine monohydrate. Throughout my entire time of weightlifting and calisthenics, I have never taken creatine until now. Now, being that it's the most studied supplement, it's really not hard to find good data on creatine. There's been many studies that link it to improved strength, endurance, cognitive function, etc. So for the last 2 months, I put it to the test. Now, you might be asking yourself, why didn't I do this sooner? And you're probably wondering, why do we have 2 pounds of beef on the counter? Well, this is actually the same as this. There's about 4 grams in 2 pounds of beef. And I don't know if you want to eat 2 pounds of beef every day. Maybe you're a carnivore, maybe you're on animal-based diet. Personally, I eat 1 pound to 1.5 pounds. So you might be saying you're good, but that's just about half the dose of what you would get from this. And this being much more concentrated as well. Now, I won't get into the science talk too much, but I think it's worth noting that you are your own science experiment. What do I mean by this? Well, I always encourage people to do their own research and try something to see what works for you. Because let's face it, doctors were wrong about red meat, saying it's going to clog your arteries and that saturated fat is bad for you. Meanwhile, pushing these heavily refined seed oils, claiming to be heart-healthy oils. Overall, though, the past 2 months on creatine have been amazing. I feel like I've been making great strides with calisthenics skills, as well as developing tons of strength. Tracking my hold times, reps, weight, etc., it's all increased respectively about 10%, which is actually pretty wild for only 2 months. I think part of this increase might be due to recovery. My recovery over the past 2 months has been so much better as well. I used to get leg cramps after long sessions, which I no longer get, and my overall hydration, my water retention, everything just feels so much better. It's worth noting though that the majority of these strength gains happened within the first 2 weeks. And I think this just has to do with kind of getting adjusted, getting used to it, because it's like any supplement, stimulant that you take. After taking it for a while, the effects aren't as strong as they once were when you first started taking it. But all in all, I think creatine is a great tool to have in your toolbox. If you are consuming 2 to 3 pounds of beef per day, then you're probably good. But most of us aren't. Now, some of the myths that we'll discuss. Is creatine just water weight? A lot of people will say that you will gain a couple pounds of water weight. And is that a big deal? No. In fact, it's actually very beneficial to muscle growth. In my personal experience, there was no bloating and not even that much weight gain to begin with. Maybe 1 pound, maybe 2. But all in all, still pretty lean. Now, if you guys have been around the channel for a while, you probably know that my goals are not very much aesthetic based. The aesthetics are a nice bonus, but really at the end of the day, all I care about is getting stronger. Now, the other myth we'll discuss is that creatine causes hair loss. All in all, the evidence to back creatine causing hair loss is pretty weak. Unless you have a genetic predisposition or some other health condition, you should be good. Now, another argument that a lot of people make is that creatine actually elevates creatinine levels in the blood, which closely mimic kidney disease. And what a lot of people aren't familiar with about creatinine is that it can be elevated by just intense exercise, having a lot of muscle mass, eating red meat, and coincidentally creatine as well. And it's funny because I've actually experienced this myself. I went and got a blood test. I had high creatinine levels, and then I went for a further follow-up to get an ultrasound, and everything was perfect. So, all in all, this is my experience. If you've tried creatine, please let us know about your experience down in the comments below. Did you experience any of the pros that we talked about? Or did you experience some of the negative effects that we talked about as well? Be sure to write it up in the comments below. Smash that like button, and we'll see you in the next one.